Title of my message, A Life-Changing Question. Are you a catastrophizer? For some of you, that might be a new term, but let me describe what catastrophizing actually looks like. And it turns out that you actually might be a catastrophizer. I know I am.
He said, his first words, "My life is ruined." My life is ruined. The issue with Paul was that he had taken an exam that afternoon and he failed his exam. He had been studying for many years and he was working his way through medical school and he had been successful on quite a number of things, and this is the one exam that Paul failed. But his pronouncement was, "My life is ruined." This is what Meg J calls catastrophizing. One failed exam, and his conclusion was, "My life is ruined," and this is a catastrophe. In other words, his mind went to the extreme worst by one failure. Now, this reaction is not an unusual one. In fact, that's how we often think. We often think in the extreme. You and a friend, you've been talking for a while, and you're good friends, and all of a sudden you get a text message, having not talked with maybe a few hours or so, and the text message reads, "We need to talk." Perhaps it's from a friend or from your spouse. Immediately your mind thinks, wait a minute, am I in trouble? That's catastrophizing. Catastrophizing, it shows up in various ages. It's most common, psychologists say, among young adults. And that's because the most uncertain period of one's life is between the ages of 18 to 35. So you begin to think that things might not work out based on your current decisions, your current choices. But it is not only among young adults. Catastrophizing shows up as well among the older group. Now, another area that you might catastrophize is, you have the doctor's appointment coming up. I don't know how many of you think, as you're driving towards that doctor's appointment, how many of you think the best case scenario? I don't know if I've ever thought that. In fact, some of us are afraid to go into the doctor's office because of what we might hear. That's catastrophizing. And it especially happens to us pastors. I see it happen sometimes when I talk to church members and I say, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" And they're like, "Wait a minute, are you calling me into the principal's office?" Catastrophizing. I'm a catastrophizer. And you might be too. The issue is that in life, it doesn't take you long to experience some kind of trauma, some kind of tragedy, some kind of difficulty. And as a result, our minds are trained to expect the worst. And that's what we often look for.